I'd like to actually welcome you all to our Filming the Future, Driving Tourism, Distribution and Community Growth Storytelling. So my name is Pinky David. I am from the KwaZulu-Natal Tourism and Film Authority. I see some colleagues are still settling down. Let's just give everyone a chance to settle down. And we will start our panel discussion at this ATI edition. This is our 2026 ATI. It's been successful so far, yes. But without wasting time, I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Nerusha, who will be handling our mediated talk this morning. And she has an hour. Nerusha, you have an hour to please give us interesting stories about tourism and film. And then you will lead the session. We are all here to engage. And of course, we'll have media interviews after the session. Thank you very much, and thank you for coming to our panel this morning.
Thank you so much. Good morning and welcome, esteemed panelists, the KZN Film and Tourism Authority, change makers, thought leaders, and set jetters. I am Nerusha Maharaj Sadapal, a producer, a film fixer, and a tech founder. Just as a matter of interest, you may raise your hands. How many of you are from KZN? All right, great. So for those of you who are not from KZN, a very warm, hearty welcome to the land where the only thing hotter and spicier than our food is our people. The only place where you can go from the Berg to the beach to the bush in a day, shop and feel and dine like you're in Dubai, but with a Durban price tag. Grab a bunny chow at 2 p.m., visit World UNESCO sites, experience the smallest deserts, dive at world-class dive destinations, or jump the world's highest gorge swing, or hike to the highest waterfall in the world. This is KZN. It's also the only place where you could be a auntie, a malumi overnight, and that is because we respect our guests. So a very warm and hearty welcome to each and every one of you today. Before we get any further, I would like for my panelists to introduce themselves so you can also get to know who's on the panel today, and we'll take the conversation further. So we'll start off with Sakile.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sakile Bumete. I'm the current Durban Film Festival manager.
Thank you. Durban International Film Festival.
Morning, everyone. My name is King Dave Mukwewa. I'm the head of productions at Stained Glass, who also happen to be the sales producer of your favorite shows, Uzalo, Amananda Wafani, and the brand new show that we will talk about a little later. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Mr. Chris Q. Radebe.
Hi everyone, my name is Chris Q. Radebe, and I'm a television and film writer.
Awesome.
Good day, everybody. My name is Richard Warlock. I'll bring the tourism to the panel today. I'm the general manager of Dragon View Large Shop in Drakensberg. Also been around the block with films, sort of reality TV, and yeah, so excited to discuss a few things.
Great, thank you. So now that you know who's on our panel today, as you guys may know, it's a trend. You see somewhere, you want to visit it. So David, this question is to you. How do your productions incorporate locations as a destination, as the next place to visit?
Thank you so much. Wow, it's such a loaded question. But let me start saying KZN is such a colorful province. Durban is a colorful, it's even more colorful city. And I'm saying this because I always say to my team as well that when we are here in Durban, in KZN, we are standing on the shoulders of the giants. And when I say that, let me remind you that this is a province or the city that gave birth to the first president of the Liberation Movement. And I'm talking about John Nangalibale Dube. He's from right here. So when we talk about Durban, we talk about KZN, it's not only about Shaka Zulu, there's a lot more. We've got people like Abu Dorothy Nyambe, we've got Princess Makoko, you name them. We just have a lot, Moses Mabida, Chief Albert Muturi, they coming from this province. We've got the first girls' boarding school in South Africa, right here in Durban. That school was formed in 1869. It's still here. It started here. That's the first black girls' private school in South Africa. So all those things are right here. So when you talk about the locations in Durban, there's a whole lot more we can do as well. And yes, Uzalo has been here for more than, I would say, we are in our 13th years. And you might think that we have showcased everything, and I don't think that we've even showcased a quarter of what this city or this province is all about. There's a lot more we still want to show you. You've got Ushaka Marine. This is the only province that will give you Ushaka Marine. We don't have anything like that in South Africa. But as television, I feel like there's a lot more we can show. We can tap into the stories of all those legends that I mentioned, the places, the likes of, he might not have been born in South Africa, Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi, I'm sure you all know about Mahatma Gandhi. We've got his museum right here. So those are spaces that as filmmakers, I feel like we need to explore. We need to explore those spaces. Moses Mabida is right here, you can even walk there. That's one of our attractions here in this city. So as filmmakers, I feel like there's a lot more we can showcase from KZN.
Thank you. And it's definitely KZN has something to offer if you are constantly on the increase with viewership, 11,000 on the rise with Uzalo, so congratulations on that.
Yes, you are right. And there are three things that you will get here in KZN that you will not necessarily get from somewhere. And the first one is the value for your money. When you come to this province, the government of this province, they are very supportive. And I think it's the only government in South Africa that will support you. And they don't only support you with money, they will give you all those locations for free. You will be able to go through those locations for free. They will support you. And the second one, the geography. I mean, it's the only province that you will have the coastline, you will have the township, you will have the city, you will have the village, you will have the harbor that works in close proximity. And in film, it's very important not to travel a lot because we tend to spend a lot of time moving around, unit moves and all those things. But here in Durban, you're able to have all those things in close proximity. Like you look at the shows like Malanga Wafani, there's a village. It's right here. We shoot that village here in this space. There's Umhlanga, there's Lalusia, there's all those spaces. There's airport, we are able to shoot at the airport. So there's just a lot that we can do in this province. And the last one is talent. We've got a lot of talent. Like I said, Uzalo is our 13th year. I think we've managed to train more than 1,000 people. So when you come to produce your show here, you don't need to come with your crew because we've got good enough crew. And we've seen that. We've had shows like Abon Koka. Those are long runnings. We have had shows like Imbewu, we've had Durban Jen, we've had Amalanga Wafani, we've got a brand new one that's about to start. And we're using the talent from right in the province. So we don't it's cheaper to shoot in KZN than anywhere else in South Africa because the support is there, talent is there. So you almost like get all in one when you're in KZN. Thank you.
I definitely would agree with that. Chris, as a writer, how do we incorporate our locations and still keep our unique KZN voice, but also be appealing to an international audience at the same time?
In filmmaking, we have a phrase that goes, story is king, right? So you would think that that only applies in the writing room, right? That everything starts with story. But what it also means is story is universal. Everybody, everywhere understands story. If you're telling a human story, everyone can relate. It doesn't matter which part of the world they come from. So as far as KZN is concerned, you just have to find an authentic story, which is always the case with kids. Like I live in Joburg, I've lived in Joburg all my life, but originally I'm from KZN, and there's just something so attractive about KZN that I am known as the guy who tells KZN stories. And what I do is I've had to be very creative because of budget constraints. So what I do is I will write a KZN based show, and then I'll find a place in Joburg that resembles whichever place my story is set in KZN. But then what I do is I would send someone who lives here, like King Dave was saying, there's a lot of talent here. So there are actually people we reach out to. I have a guy, his name is Jabulo. I just call him and I'm like, please go to this place in Mzube, for instance, and then he takes beautiful establishing shots of the area. And then because if it wasn't for the budget, I would come to KZN with every single show and come and shoot here, right? So I just send him there, and then he goes and he takes beautiful establishing shots, and then I incorporate those into the film, and it looks like it was shot in KZN, but the idea is to shoot it here. So yeah, and I'm surprised I'm not able to tell. But it has to happen in the right season, right? So
absolutely.
I match the seasons so that it looks like if it's summer, it has to be in summer in Joburg as well.
I love that. I love the way you're using, establishing shots to channel the viewer to KZN.
Yes.
Well, that's great. So, Richard, from the hospitality perspective, how do you manage a film crew, the demands, the needs? And what does that look like from a tourism and hospitality perspective? And then this whole new chaotic and beautiful world of film.
Right, so the big thing is tourism historically don't know film and vice versa. Film they've got their requirements, they've got their ABCs, and tourism are like, I've got the rooms, I've got the accommodation, I've got the location as well. You need to do ABC. And like, no. So the big thing between tourism and film is there has to be adaptability. Tourism has to understand form's got requirements and vice versa, that there's tourism can give to film what they actually want. You go back before film was so big. The tourism said, okay, guest check in, guest eat, guest sleep, guest check out. And that's not how the film industry works. They all want early mornings, they all want late nights, they want skip meals, they want packed meals, they want hot meals served at funny locations.
Yeah.
And until you understand that, you're always going to be on that foot. The other thing is very often you find that tourism don't understand film. So what will happen is film will go and speak to tourism, and tourism will actually go to negative feedback, and then film will be like, well, I'm moving on to the next place. So I find it very imperative that we actually create a development plan, an education plan that educates not only tourism to film, but also location to film. So when you go and you say, I need the Drakensberg Mountain, I need to fly a helicopter up there, everybody's inevitably already aware of how this is going to happen. They know that this is a fine print, this is how we have to adapt to this, and these are the permissions and certificates that need to be required to fly an airplane up the Drakensberg mountain. And without that, your producers and your fixers and your scouts are only going to, these people don't want to work with us, they're going to find another mountain. So I find it very, very important that everybody that makes film gets educated to the aspect of the requirements. So it's a preparation step. So when you're ready to do the film, you go, okay, I already know that so-and-so has got accommodation, we've got nice accommodation, affordable accommodation, and locations that are in close proximity. We definitely heard that the proximity is a big thing. Travel does cost money, and that's why KZN is offering it all. We've got it all. So only to add on to the harbour in Durban, you've got a mountain not far away. You've got a big 5 reserves. They're all in close proximity to one another. That you can do such a versatile film covering all these aspects. But you will need tourism in those sectors to be ready and waiting for you when you're ready. The other thing is in these areas, in these historic areas, or big 5 areas, or mountainous areas, there is tourism there already. And those are the people that inevitably know the landscape and the diversity already. So if film said, I need a mountain, it has to have a waterfall, there's a whole list of specifics. There should be somebody living there that's going to know the GPS coordinates for that. Instead of going, okay, now we need to go and look, which means we have to hike for 5 days, sleep in a tent and eat baked beans out of a can, just to find these locations. There are people that have done that before and lived in these destinations.
No, I agree. And I definitely agree with the part about educating, because tourism and film go hand in hand. And there is a clear gap, I believe, in if we are wanting to identify a location, is it film friendly? And so that's also how the need for the app came about, the Global Film Fixer app, film friendly locations. So, but generally KZN is film friendly. Sakile, you run the oldest film festival in Africa, a Oscar qualifying festival as well. How can we use festivals to encourage tourism and also to showcase our locations and our unique stories?
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. So we are the longest running festival in the continent, and we are located at the Center for Creative Arts, which is part of the University of KwaZulu-Natal. We don't often talk about the Durban Film Festival and why it was established. It was established by a group of academics and activists in society who felt that they needed to come up with this initiative which was going to be a protest platform. And for at the inception of the festival, it was not just for entertainment, but it was also to showcase content that was not allowed in South Africa, and to discuss, about the political scene in the country. And that is why you find the festival located at the university. It's because of those academics who came up with this concept, and it's still located at the university. And so it's important as we celebrate, because in 3 years we're going to be celebrating 50 years of the festival's establishment. So it's important to also go back to the history to say why was the festival established. And so as a festival, we are a platform obviously to showcase films that are done by filmmakers locally and abroad. But we also have programs within that space where we bring on board industry experts to do training. Like, for example, we have the festival residency program where, together with our partners, we invite, festival directors. It started, with directors that were regional based, and those were directors in the province, but we've extended that now to directors in the country. you know, when they come on board and they have a training for the entire week. We also bring experts outside the country to come on board. We do that also with our workshops, which are part of this PH program, which are free for the public, because what is important for us is also to build a strong partnership with the local role players. And so they become part of those workshops. We also have a strong partnership with art centers, you know, in this province. You can name them, your KK, Kwamashu, Ushmini, Ilinanda, Mutuni Museum in Stanga, and various other establishments, you know. So we feel that as much as we are seen as this international space, but we need to also make sure that nobody is left behind. We cater for our local audiences as well. And so, yeah, that is basically what we do. And when our international guests come on board, obviously with our partners and stakeholders, they do have an opportunity to go on tour, especially with KZN Film Authority. You know, they've been championing this initiative where they make sure that all these international guests are able to see KZN and Devon locations. And so we're quite grateful for that because in a way we market our province, these people get to see what we are all about. And there has been positive stories where people do come back to the province, and to the city, But also maybe I can highlight as well that we come from that space where we're not only concentrating on film. In October, we're going to host slam poetry. And so there will be 40 countries that will be deciding together to come and participate in poetry slam. And so those are positive spin-offs, for us, and so, for us to have a partnership with the government of this province, but more especially with KZN Film Authority. It's very important because what I've learned over the years for me is having them as a partner basically has sort of solidified what it means to have a partner, in a sense that we're not just giving you funding, but we want to understand what you do and we want to be with you in terms of how you curate, in terms of, not that we want to interfere, but it's very important to have a partner that understands your challenges, because there's a lot of challenges in a space that we are in. And so it's I think for me, like what my brother said before, I really appreciate how the organizations in this province are able to work hand in hand with the festival of this province.
Thank you. King Dave, so from your experience, with regards to locations, how do you find new locations? Are you looking on social media? Are you checking out other productions, movies, or where do you find them? And with talent as well, are you reaching out to authorities, tourism, CTOs? Also, what's it like when going and filming in the community, with regards to protocols and stuff like that? How easy is it?
Now let me start with finding locations. Obviously, we don't necessarily call them, but we meet with them time and again, and they give us a list of locations. Sometimes we even drive around with them. They show us all these spaces. And that's why, as I'm sitting here, I'm able to talk about your Magandu Museum. Those are spaces that they showed us. So whenever we need something, we just go. We tell them that we come into this space. Like, for example, now as I'm sitting here, I've got a team that is shooting at Ushaka Marine World. And we don't pay a cent because of the relationship we have with KZN Film and Tourism. So whenever we want to shoot everywhere, there are no red flags for us because we know where to go. And if ever sometimes obviously we have some challenges here and there, but we know who to talk to. So we just give them a call. They are always around 12%.
No, that's great.
Just
That's amazing to hear. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you guys are shooting?
No, the only thing that I can say about the show that we're currently shooting is that it's a new telenovela, 260 episodes, ETV. It's going to be on air from the 29th of June, 7:30. So, look at I'm allowed to say more before the broadcaster it launches the show, because there'll be a launch of the show. But the name of the show is Egagasi, because we are here at Egagasi. Yeah, so.
Thank you for choosing KZN once again. That's great. I'm looking forward to that one. Chris, I saw something interesting on your socials. So, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. It's the film that you had put on for a day,
Yes.
and your viewers and audience could watch. Could you tell me more about that? Was it by experiment? What insights did you get? Is it going to be out again? Because I'm actually looking forward to it, because I unfortunately missed it.
Sure.
So just tell us more about that, and then also just in terms of distribution. I love the fact that you are going digital to get your story out there and to reach new audiences. But what was your intention and also your findings from this whole experiment?
Sure. In 2024, in December, I was visiting home. Like I said, home is in the South Coast in Ekop. So I was visiting home, and I saw this lady that I was friends with her kids when I was little. So and I remember that her husband passed away when I was like 6 years old. And so I was looking at her, and she was walking around here, and I thought to myself, the first time in my life I heard the word someone passed away, it was with that lady. Because I remember I was so confused, because they kept saying Ushoni, and I didn't know what the big deal was, because I thought Ushoni was just to disappear, around the corner. So anyway, I decided to go talk to her, and I asked her why she hadn't moved on with her, she hadn't moved on with her life, because she was like 30 when her husband passed away. And she looked at me like I had said the weirdest thing, it's like, move on to when, and then we got to talking, and she basically just didn't because where are you going to leave him with, right? So I thought it was so interesting that, even now in 2026,
Wow.
in 2024, at the time, she still has the same, mentality. Yes, and I started talking to different, elderly women in the area, and the stories are the same. And so I thought it was fascinating, and I thought to myself, so what would happen if one woman did actually decide to go against tradition and move on? And that's where the idea came from, because I got back home that night, and I just started writing the story. That's how it came about. And then when I finished with it, obviously the idea was I showed it in Joburg, from my own pocket, because it was so important for me to tell the story. So I took a necklace about it, and made very rash decisions. But I just wanted to see the story. And I wanted everyone else to see it, because I wanted to see what their reaction was going to be, because it's a very important story to tell, because it's not just about not moving on, but it's also about how the women that don't have husbands tend to be taken advantage of.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's actually a very deep story, because it's not I know I was laughing when I was talking about that lady, but actually, she said that like the experience those take us in, so I delved quite deep into that. And so I just wanted to see what people's reactions were gonna be. And also I wanted those people themselves to see those stories, yes, because if they're on DSTV, for instance, not everyone can afford DSTV, but YouTube, if you have data, you can.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I thought I wanted it to reach as many people as possible, and actually I was very happy to realize that I had accomplished that, because in like 2 weeks, so I shot it as a film, but then I broke it down into like short episodes. I played it like a series, and I remember the first like 30 minutes in like 2 weeks it was on 1 million views.
Exactly.
Yeah, and just became like a phenomenon. Like I didn't think that people were gonna enjoy it, but I didn't know it was gonna be to that extent. So eventually I just decided, let me just carry on with this YouTube thing, and actually see where it goes, because another thing that we struggle with in the industry is channels tend to limit us in as far as like how you can tell the story. I always found that with every show that I've done, whenever there was no interference with it, like from channel, I was able to get the audience interested. But whenever they start interfering, like you can't do this, you can't do that, and you have to listen to them because they are the client, right? But I just find that if you tell stories honestly, that's when you are able to reach, the deepest parts of people.
Absolutely. I mean, I loved seeing, the comments and reading, and people are waiting for more and waiting for it to come back. And so congratulations on that, being self-funded and also just taking the leap of putting it out there and seeing, the digital platform. So well done. So my last question, Richard. So the gap between film and hospitality, how can we bridge it? We were chatting about our app previously in terms of film-friendly locations, or what can establishments do, and how can we partner and foster that collaboration between film and tourism, hospitality included?
I think the fact that you use film-friendly is vital, because tourism and film aren't really historically friends. And you choose a hospitality establishment to film for the day, and the weather plays up, the camera didn't work properly, the casts not feeling well, so your day gets delayed. The Hospitality Institute doesn't understand those things. They're not flexible in terms of the way in which films operate. So yes, it's primarily important that we educate vice versa, but having this app that gives you the opportunity to list this film friendly, so that if somebody needs a house or a location or just accommodation, that they know, okay, in this area, ABC, and those people are educated. So I think it is vitally important that we actually take it a step back and go and educate, segment the province, and educate the start with larger, you finish on smaller, and you educate each institute, each hotel, guest house, and even know what could be identified as locations. Are you interested in film? Have you done it before? No, I don't know anything about it. Let's sit down and discuss the ABCs. This is how it works. Are you not interested? Yes. Okay, now I need you to draw up your terms and conditions of how things will work if somebody signs up here, and all of that gets published so that when somebody says, okay, I need a location, what is the location terms and conditions? Okay, these ones, I need a flexible contact. Are you flexible? No, we're not. So they're very strict. Okay, sorry, I need to move on to the next location. And if you go into the tourism aspect, tourism properties, and you ask them, What's film friendly? I'm sure most of them are open and cooking through what it is. So if you start there and educate them, we need to go film friendly. What is film friendly? This is what film friendly is. Are you interested? And then you start listing, because I'm from a property and I've just learned the word film friendly.
Thank you. That's from the app, Global Film Fixer. So I think we are coming to the end of the session, but in closing, I'd like to go through to each one of the panelists and any key takeaways, action points, or anything that you'd like to see or would be implementing within the next 12 months that would impact all of us here in the room today. And then also, where can we find you? How can we reach you on socials?
I don't know if I can just make one last point.
Please do.
I think the question was the role of film festivals. I think, for me, it's very important to try and align because, for example, in 2003, I had an opportunity to take young people from South Africa to Sao Paulo in Brazil. I visited Fuzhou in China, and I also went to participate in Luxor this year in Egypt. And it's very important to align with the treaties that are signed by our government, but also signed by state agencies like Tourism, KwaZulu-Natal Tourism and Film Authority, and other organizations. Because what it does is that it enhances those treaties. We are there to create a platform. They sign treaties, but then we are able to connect, filmmakers, and we're able to create space for those filmmakers. So I think that is key for us as film festivals, just to understand what is going on at a government level. And so, from my experience, just going through these lectures, and there's also hunger for our stories in other parts of the world. When I visited Sao Paulo, we just, I took about 3 students from Devon, and to my surprise, our night or our showcase was the most attended in the festival. And it just shows how much people wanted to see stories coming from South Africa.
That's amazing. Where was that, and what?
Sao Paulo.
And what film?
Brazil.
What film was it?
It was just student films.
Just student films.
From UK to then, just student films.
Amazing. The upcoming festival.
So we are located in July, and our next festival is going to be on the 23rd of July to the 2nd of August here in Devon. And July in this country has been declared as a film month, and that's just the influence of this province of KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa. And we're very happy to be that influential as a province.
Thank you. King Dave, with regards to, I know you guys host a lot of interns and giving back, and also I know workshops that you guys do at the Sepetu and other programs and festivals. How important is that element in terms of that education and partnerships and interns? Where do you get them from? How can, government and filmmakers seated here today also collaborate with you guys?
No, I think that's a very important one, and it's important for film and tourism to work together. And I will speak on behalf of St. Glacier. Like I said, we've been here since 2014. In fact, we produced the first long-running outside of Gauteng, which was Uzalo. And after that, everyone has been trying, and I see that it's becoming a success. But when we came here back then, obviously we didn't have enough experience. We had to train, we had to bring a lot of people from Joburg, obviously, because we wanted those introduced that were experienced. But ever since, and I will say now, I'm trying to think of the team at Uzalo. I don't think we've got any person that is from outside this province. And you look at Uzalo team, most of them have never worked anywhere else. We train them here, and we work together with the KZN Tourism. I think we train about 12 people per year from here. They give us about 12 every year. And last year, because it was Uzalo and Amalanga, we had 12 Uzalo, 12 Amalanga. So we managed to train 24. And it just doesn't end there. After training, we try to give them work. Like now, we've got this whole new show that is employing people that were trained by Uzalo and Amalanga. And those are people from within this province. So I think we've done quite a lot as far as training is concerned. And it's not only about training, because the locations that we use here, we pay people for using this location. So I think the business that we also bring into the province says a lot. Also our catering company, the company that is catering for Uzalo, it didn't exist before Uzalo. It's people that we asked to open a catering company and gave them the platform. And at the moment they're doing very well. We've got security company that is, I think it's only here that we're struggling to get in KZN, but everything else we're trying to get it from here in KZN. And I'm proud to say that we're spending about, I would say, 100 million a year per production here in KZN. And we will continue to do that.
That's awesome. That's amazing. So, Mr. Radebe, yes. With regards to telling stories and finding new avenues for distribution, what would you say to those content creators, those wanting to get into the industry and find their way breaking in?
That's an excellent question. So, before I speak to that, because I'm going to forget this point, just want to piggyback on what King was saying. So, that's beautiful, what you guys do, and it shouldn't be just you guys doing it. Like I said, I love telling KZN stories, because we've been telling the same stories in Joburg. Everyone knows we're guilty of that. You go to pitch a new show and they're like, no, we've had like 20 of those. Everyone is pitching the same thing and the same. And what I realized is that in the rural areas, there are beautiful stories, and actually people in the city do want to watch those stories. You know what I mean? So it doesn't have to be only Stained Glass that does that. You know, we can all do it. And I learned today, I don't know if it's because I'm ignorant or if it's something new, but I learned that we can actually have those conversations and partner up with people, you know, relevant people here, and actually bring more shows to KZN and do what they are doing, you know, employ more people, because we don't need. There are more and more people. There are people who leave KZN to go live in Joburg because there are not enough opportunities. Because Stained Glass is one company and you can only do so much, right? So it would be great if like some of us came back as well and did that, because we are already doing it. We just bring it from Joburg, yeah. But as far as distribution goes, like I said, with Channel, right? You know, they have their own mandates. They have their own rules. They want the stories told in a certain way, and you know, Gen Z is very creative. They are more creative than us. I could even venture to say, right? So they're not gonna get far if they wanna do things the way that we have always done them, you know, going the channel route, you know. Yes, the broadcasters are the ones with money, but there's social media now, and there are so many more opportunities now than there were perhaps 10 years or more back, right? So, like for instance, if we started using YouTube and convinced advertisers to, you know, to join in and could actually make that like a real thing. You know, now you don't have to wait for commissioning, because a lot of people have stories but they end up not doing anything with those stories because they're waiting to be commissioned. Everyone is pitching to channel, but there's like a few channels, right? but there are so many talented people, right? People have started shooting content with their phones. And so if you are gonna wait for a channel to approve your proposal, you're gonna end up not doing it, and then you're gonna be discouraged, and then you're gonna give up eventually. So platforms like YouTube are actually like very good avenues that I would encourage everyone to try out. And because once advertisers see that a lot of us are doing that, they are going to want to get on that train.
Jump on, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
With regards to film festivals, what is your take on film festivals? Have you submitted to film festivals? Would you consider putting some of your shorts into festivals?
100%. Because that should be the first place for every project, right? Because then the relevant people get to see it and might actually gain wheels quicker than it would if you didn't go to festivals. So 100%.
That also takes me to the point that you were saying about education. It might be a good platform or something that I also run a film festival, is to be inviting hospitality or tourism to film festivals to educate them, also to see the partnership and link. What do you think about that?
Why not? Education is key in it, people to understand one another. You might even find that somebody so short that like you said, people are shooting with their cell phones nowadays. You might find an establishment that says, okay, the story is phenomenal, it's going to fit on my location and I'm going to sponsor the production. You never know.
Amazing.
Education at the end of the day and networking.
Amazing.
Make things better.
Thank you. Well, thank you for sharing so kindly and openly. I think we will open the floor up now for a Q&A session, and I think you will assist me with that. So you may raise your hands, and I think you will come through. If you can just let us know who it's addressed to.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I see questions already. Can you just give them a round of applause for such an insightful 45 minutes of just getting a true masterclass on film and tourism? I really think this was such a good conversation. So now we're going to jump into the Q&A, and I do have my colleagues that are assisting me with mics. On the floor. Yes, we do have people helping us with mics. Let's go. We're going to take the Q&A and we'll then do closing remarks. So let's go. I saw first hand, my brother in green. Please introduce yourself and then direct the question to a panelist. Let's go. Yes. Mike, please. Let's start on the left-hand side.
My name is Salwan Mouzi. I am the curator and strategist for International Film Festival. I just want to say thank you to Cosmo Nadal, Tourism and Film Community for doing this amazing conference. I have a few comments and questions for the film, but I'll start with no product is. First, I've been following your work. It's amazing what you're doing, and I'm able to see Makon like that. And I just want to say like what you did from when we spoke writing for television and what you're doing for now on YouTube is amazing. But the question is, you are in a better position because of your brand and the work that you've done. Yes, when you do something, it might catch on the internet. The challenge that you are going for the digital because of the funding challenges. So, if you can just tell us what is it that you think we can do? Because you spoke about when you pitch to channels and they are giving us a channel because they want us to tell their stories. Now we are here in KZN, we are KZN Boy. And what is it that you can advise, especially to KZN government, in terms of the challenges that the filmmakers are facing? Because if someone like you is facing those kind of challenges, and again, we speak of the budget because the filming is a funding intensive industry. If you can get the money to do the vision that you have, the one that you do yourself, how much money will it cost you? And thank you for sharing.
How much money will it cost to
do the one that you do online if you have the budget?
Okay, got you. I'll start with that one. So yeah, filmmaking is unfortunately very expensive. Right. I mean, I still have debts from that one, and I want to shoot a sequel now. That's why I was mentioning advertisers, right? Because the ideal situation is that you get advertisers to come on board, and you know they will make funding available for you. So that is always the goal, because you know the government direction. I just decided to self-fund the thing. It's not because I have money. I'm actually so broke right now. but you know, because what you do, you know, once the buck has beaten you, there's nothing you can do. And once you've written that story, you just wanna shoot it, right? So I do hope that eventually, like we can get some kind of help. Like I'm saying, that I would love to come and shoot in KZN and shoot all my shows in KZN, as opposed to shooting establishers in KZN and then finding a location, because it's just not the same. Opportunity to help other filmmakers, right? Get them to work on your project and maybe just piggyback on whatever you are already doing, because like you are saying, I am aided by the fact that, you know, I already have I already have my work out there. People know what I do, what I've done, you know, so it's a lot easier for me. But it doesn't mean that it's impossible for someone else, you know, because story is a story at the end of the day. If you write a good story and you manage to shoot it in a way that makes someone want to watch it, you know, people will watch it. You know, I have been watching some of, you know, other people's work on YouTube, and I am impressed by some, and obviously some needs a little bit of help here and there, but I think it's something that, you know, one shouldn't hesitate to do, just you know, by virtue of the fact that they're not well known, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chris. And I think we're going to take another question. But the main key here, the main thing here is that once the bug, you know, once the bug hits you, then it's over. So you come and talk to your partners, you get funding, but you'll get it going. That's what we hope that you do. Can we have another question? Colleagues, please help me manage the questions.
Yeah, thank you so much, colleagues. Thank you for wonderful information. It's very insightful. So my name is Michael Gema. I'm the Festival Director of Mlazi International Film Festival. I'd like to say first I'm going to comment for Mr. Dave King. Thank you so much for living up to your name. You're like a king in my township. Because unemployment for creatives is declining because of you. So it's not just appreciate you, so you say you can't say much about that for now, but then we can give Mr. For a long time, we've known there's people that will complain that we've been overlooked as well as it, but now there's no more. Thank you so much. To you, Mr. Hadere, this kind of home brand. This kind of home brand. It's not only funding that can get us to execute our films, we can I'm a producer as well. So it's co-productions,
there's many other creative ways. For instance, with us, we've been getting some funding from Ford. So the private sector is also now getting interested into investing into creatives, you know. So yeah, that's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. That's a comment more, and it's a compliment and a comment, and of course it's from NUZ, Lazi. Yes, and King, you are the king in our townships. So.
Thank you so much. My people from Ulazi, maybe for the rest of the team's benefit, the new show that I was talking about, it's set there in Ulazi. So Ulazi will never be the same like we did back in 2014 in Kwamashu. We did it recently with them. We did it just last year with Amalanga in Clermont, and now we are in Ulazi, and we will keep going.
Questions now. I do know that we're going to have time to actually speak to our panelists after this. We'll catch up with them, but let's get them to answer some questions.
Good morning. My name is Nsani. I'm from Highway Radio. My question is for the filmmakers in the room. It was mentioned that Gen Zs should be venturing into digital productions and all sorts of that. My question is, in terms of regulations, do we know what scope do you think digital filmmakers should operate within? In terms of, since we have television, we have the BC6A that regulates the type of content that comes out. Are there regulations that digital filmmakers should work within to ensure that their work is still palatable, still impactful, but without venturing too far into things that may be considered taboo? That's my question. Any of the filmmakers in the room are festival hosts and filmmakers. Thank you.
I think Chris is the right one to answer.
Wow. Okay. So, just please repeat the last part of your question.
I'm asking what scope should they still keep within without venturing too far into things that may hinder them from submitting their works to film festivals, things that may be considered taboo or vulgar. So that's my real question.
Okay.
Are those regulations in place, or should they be regulations?
Okay, gotcha. No, so there shouldn't be, right? Because, like I'm saying, what Gen Z have got going for them is that they are so creative, and I feel like, you know, the older generation, the reason that they keep recycling the same stuff is because they've kind of like run out of ideas. I'm ashamed to say, but that seems to be the truth, right? And they are kind of taking over now, and the only way they can do that is to bring their ideas out as raw as they are, and you know, so that then maybe they can actually change the industry and actually get the older guys to do things differently as well, because they are so set in their ways now that it's hard to think out of the box, whereas that's Gen Z's signature, right? So I think that there should be no limitations as far as that is concerned, and they actually should try and convince the broadcasters that this is the way to go, you know, yeah.
Nemasha, can you also just give us a take on this one?
Yeah, so if I may just add, in terms of compliance as well, reach out to the Film and Publication Board, because in terms of violence, in terms of language, and you know, it's the way that it can be controlled, because I mean, a piece of content can be banned, taken down, a content creator could be fined if it's not compliant. So my advice is also just to reach out to the Film and Publication Board as well.
Right, so some compliance issues, we're done with those. And then there's another question. About the, you can take the question. So Francis, and then I'll come to you.
My question is for Richard.
Please introduce yourself and then the question.
Sorry, my name is Anthony, I'm from Eco Creative. My question is for Richard, tourism side. I believe that, and I do know that you posted some film productions that you will establishment. What were some of the challenges that we've spoken about education? It is important, but prior to everyone being educated, what are some of the challenges that you face and how do you find solutions while the production is happening?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is what we identify as a challenge. So I'm a very positive person. I don't believe in challenges, I believe in solutions for something that just bothered us. And how you see things. So as mentioned earlier, you may get a production engine. I can't say that it would have bothered me because I'm a very adaptive person and I run my business very adaptively. If somebody says that they want to eat early or later, who cares if we just make it happen at the end of the day? These are our guests, these are our clients, and we just make it work for them. Unfortunately, can't change the weather. I've sent a couple of emails in that regard, but it's never really worked. So that would be possibly one of the biggest challenges that I've ever had to deal with. And as soon as you adapt when you work with the people, you learn to work with them because they can't do anything except expect the weather to change that you actually can't change. And why is it not a challenge? So yes, as soon as you go to location issues and the more remote you go, you're going to be dealing with electricity issues and anything else that might be weather related if you're dealing in the Drakensberg or it's summer instead of winter and so forth. But you just work with it. As long as you understand your customer and your clients, nothing can be fixed except weather.
Right, few more questions, Maisha.
Good morning. Thank you to the panelists for sharing your insights and your experiences. I'm Aisha from the KZN Tourism Authority. I'm within the full production department. And my question is to the producers in the panel. And the question is, do you think that local stories have the ability to drive global audiences? Bring tourists to the country, into KZN. And just to give you some background why I'm asking that question, and it's a conversation I'm having with my colleagues. I was in a session the other day with another very accomplished film producer who produced a lot of successful local series. And an insight was shared with me that only the very big budget productions like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, big marketing budgets are the ones that are able to bring global audiences to come to South Africa as tourists. And secondly, another insight that he shared was that he feels that very hyper-local stories are not palatable or not international audiences are not interested in those kind of stories. And we need to, if we want to sell our stories globally, we need to provide those audiences with some access to the local stories so that they can kind of feel that they are inside the story. So just from the storytelling perspective, I just wanted to hear what your thoughts are regarding those two opinions about stories and tourism in local audiences. Thanks.
Alright, King David, I think this one, and then we'll pass the mic to the next person.
No, thank you. No, I think it's high time we start telling our stories. And I know that most of the time we get it wrong because we want to tell stories the way other people or other countries tell their stories. But if we go in your deep rural areas of KZN and tell those stories, like you were saying, my colleague, that people are more interested in those stories than we find in the village. But the thing with us is that sometimes we feel that we are not enough. We always want to go to Cape Town, we want to go to all those high places, but local stories are good. Amananga at the moment is number 2 in South Africa because of local stories. The Imotu stories, we go tell those are the stories that people want to watch on the screen. So I think it's high time we start telling our story, and that's why when I started here, I mentioned the legends that have passed on. It's not only about Shaka Zulu, and we all know that Shaka Zulu does well. People want to watch Shaka Zulu. That's why we have like how many versions of Shaka Zulu now? Maybe 2 or 3. Because people want to watch those stories. But I think that there are other people from right here in KZN that if we start telling their stories, the world will want to watch. Yeah, and we must go back and tell our stories.
Also, if I may just add, story is king, like we know. So, I mean, if we are authentic and telling it, at the end of the day, we're all humans. And story is what connects us. I mean, if you just look at Bollywood series, ZTV, taken Indian Bollywood content, dubbed into Zulu. So different cultures, but I mean, just the language. It's because we relate with emotion. So it's the way that we tell our stories to be relatable to a global audience. And obviously, I mean, to produce something that is world-class, you need budget. But I mean, at the end of the day, it does boil down to story.
Also, if I might just add, so it's like, if a South African rapper, right, who raps in an American accent and tries to sell their music to Americans, they're not gonna buy it because they have that. That's their style. You know what I mean? So I think I don't think that they have seen enough of our stuff to decide if they want to see it or not. I feel like we are not bold in that regard to say this is what we do and and show it to them, right? We are always very hesitant to tell our stories because of the understanding that they're not gonna be interested in it because it's rural stories and that's why everyone is always trying to emulate what they are trying to do, but they are not interested in that. So maybe those stories are the ones that will say to them, these are the South African stories, and let's see if that, because like you say, story is king, right? If a story is, if it's a human story, then it doesn't matter where you are going to relate to it, and then you make a decision whether to watch it or not, right?
Right. Okay, we do have the last round of questions. There is one more here, and another one. Okay, then we need to wrap up and to understand that yes, story is king. So.
My name is Ted, so I'm from Botswana. I'm a filmmaker from Botswana. Just asking in terms of collaboration with other African countries, because I've seen tourism in Zambia, like also tourism companies like Botswana, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and all that. But with the films, I'm not sure if this. I know in terms of film festivals in Cape Town, other countries in Africa. And what about like stories? Like if you're saying we would like to tell stories of Africans by Africans, but what more can we do to collaborate with other African countries to ensure that at least, like right now there's an issue of xenophobia. How can we convince other Africans to say we are all brothers in Africa and all that, so that our stories also, like the cultures. Okay, Botswana speaks Botswana, South Africa speaks Botswana, but I've seen when a lot of people say I'm watching South African content, it's more related to South Africa. It doesn't accommodate other people from other countries as well, but we still share Zimbabwe and other, we still share our cultures. So what can we do more with other African collaborations? Thanks.
No, I think it's an important one, but you said it right. African stories must be told by Africans, and I think it's high time we start collaborating. And Botswana is even easy because you can easily go to my Ike and tell my Ike story, which will be like the story that you will tell from Botswana. So I think it's high time that we start doing that as well. And as Staying Class, we are open to those kind of collaboration.
Right, so we close it on that note of collaboration. Remember, we are just not South Africans, we are Africans, and of course, we want to know more about other side families that probably left South Africa and went to other countries. So on that note, I'd like to thank all of you. You've been such a wonderful audience. You've been engaging us, you've been listening. I saw some people writing notes. And of course, we will have a Q&A, especially to those media colleagues. But for now, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for taking your time to come and visit us in KwaZulu-Natal. Those that are in Johannesburg, and they flew in and fly out again. But those that live in the Bukafam, the Drakensberg Mountains, welcome to Durban. And of course, today you are a tourist. Richard, where are you going? Where are you going? I know you're always on the road. taking content of KwaZulu-Natal. Remember, we must visit, our different regions. King, you are the king of stories. Thank you very much. And of course, to our colleagues from DIR, thank you very much for being here. Can we give them a round of applause? Thank you. The panel is closed, and I'd like to call our photographers. I do know that they wanted to have a photo shoot, and so they can come and direct us as to how they want the pictures. Our panelists, please can we just have
a group photo?
Thank you so much.
We will be doing several pictures with different themes as well. So we'll start with the group one. You can be in the center as you please.